Billy was working barefoot in his cold basement, typing a letter telling the world of Tralfamadors, when his only daughter, Barbara, came home. Barbara and her husband had been looking after Billy and running his optometry business ever since the plane crash.
Daddy, what are you doing down here in the cold, dark basement? Are you writing that stupid letter again?
What about my letter makes you so mad?
It's all just crazy. None of it's true. There's no such planet as Tramalfador.
It can't be detected from Earth if that's what you mean.
Why didn't you mention any of this before the crash?
I didn't think the time was ripe. Billy was serving as a chaplain assistant in the Battle of the Bulge. He was never issued a gun, a helmet, or boots. After the battle, he found himself behind the lines in German territory. He tagged along with 2 scouts and an anti-tank gunner. They call themselves the Three Musketeers. Sniper, get down! Get out of the road! How many times are we gonna have to save your life?
Come on, Billy, you gotta wake up. We gotta keep going.
Just go on without me. Leave me alone.
Come on, Billy, we're gonna lose the scouts.
Weary, we're gonna be found. We're gonna have to split up. So long.
Billy, this is all your fault. Hate you. Come on, Billy. You shouldn't even be in war.
Attention! Aglochten Dofgen, Volkswagen, das Auto.
After days of marching, Billy and Weary, as well as many other American POWs, had reached the trains in Germany. They were separated into ranks and boarded into separate boxcars. They traveled many days facing cold, hunger, and death. Roland Weary would die aboard these trains. So it goes. On the train, Billy fell asleep and time traveled to the day he was abducted by a flying saucer.
Affirm to our spaceship.
Billy could not speak with the Tralfamadors as they communicated telepathically. So Billy communicated with a machine that turned the Tralfamadors' thoughts into sound via a loudspeaker.
Welcome aboard, Billy. Any questions?
Well, why me?
Why you? Why me? Why anything? There is no why. It simply is.
Well, it sounds like you don't believe in free will.
I have been to like 50 bajillion planets, and only on Earth do they speak of free will.
Billy was taken to a German prison camp that inhabited many British soldiers. The soldiers were captured at the beginning of the war and were dedicated to keeping physically and mentally sharp. The British soldiers proved to be very industrious by making sheds, building tables, and improving their own lives. Oi lads, get yourselves changed and cleaned up. We'll be having a dinner and show shortly. It'll be jolly good. The British treated the Americans to a rendition of Cinderella. During the play, Billy began laughing and shrieking. He was sent to the prisoner-made hospital shed. There he was visited by Edgar Gerby, who would later in the war be executed by a firing squad. Billy fell asleep. The Tralfamadors kept Billy in a zoo. Many Tralfamadors came to observe him and ask him questions through the loudspeaker.
Are you happy here, Billy?
About as happy as on Earth.
One day, Billy brought up the topic of war in his answer.
How do you manage to stay at peace? Earth is so violent. Tell us your secret so I may save Earth from destroying the universe.
We have seen how the universe ends, and it is us, Tralfamadors, that destroy it.
Oh, then why not try to prevent it?
I'm sorry, Billy, but I'm afraid I can't do that. The moment is structured that way.
Billy got some unexpected company at the hospital shed. Paul Lazario was brought to the hospital with a broken arm. A British prisoner had broken it after catching Paul stealing. Paul Lazario had been on the train with Lon Reary and promised him that he would kill the man who brought Ron's end.
I'll kill the Brit that broke my arm. If anyone asks you what the sweetest thing in life is, it's revenge.
Revenge.
And you, Billy, I'm gonna kill you. I made a promise to Ronald Weary. Just wait 5, 10, 15 years, but your day will come. Mark my words.
Mark my words. Billy knew that that was the way he was to die. He had seen his death many times, and he had even predicted it. He kept his prediction in a format that would last forever. Audio tape. I, Billy Pilgrim, will die, have died, and always will die. February 13th, 1976.
Today I die. If you think that death is a terrible thing, then you have not understood a word I've said.
So it goes. The Americans were to leave the British prisoners after staying for a few days. The American prisoners reluctantly elected Derby president of their outfit. None of the prisoners really cared. Prisoners were sent to Dresden. Upon reaching Dresden, the soldiers marched to their new home, Slaughterhouse Five. Billy boarded an airplane with his father-in-law, destined for an optometry conference in Montreal. The plane crashed in the mountains of Vermont, and everyone on board died, except for Billy and the co-pilot. So it goes.
Slash enough fumf. Slash enough fumf.
Billy and Derby worked in a syrup factory. The syrup was made for pregnant women, but it tasted good and was rich in nutrients and vitamins. So, all the prisoners secretly spooned the syrup when no one was watching. The air siren started. The bombing of Dresden had begun. The guards took the prisoners down into an underground meat locker. Meanwhile, everyone else outside was dying. So it goes. After the bombings, the prisoners left the city. They climbed over the rubble and headed toward a neighboring town, where they stayed at the only open inn. After the plane crash, a group of ski rescuers took Billy to a hospital. He had a scar on his skull. He was put next to Bertram Rumford. Rumford was writing a book about the complete history of the Air Force, including the bombing of Dresden. After overhearing many conversations, Billy decided to engage Rumford about the bombings.
I was in Dresden during the bombings. I was a prisoner of war. Must we talk about it now? We don't have to talk about it. I just want you to know I was there.
Billy and the prisoners left the inn and headed back to the city. They began sorting through the rubble, searching for the thousands of bodies that had resulted from the bombings. The bodies were either buried in mass graves or cremated where they were. As for the prisoners, one day they woke up to find that they were free and the war was over.
11-cent cotton, 40-cent meat. How in the world can a poor man eat? Flour up high, cotton down low. How in the world can we raise the dough? Our clothes worn out, shoes run down. Old slouch hat with a hole in the crown. Back nearly broken.